What a surprising turn of events for this week's episode of Dororo. Haya's brother was the main focus this week. We got to see what type of person he was and what role he's going to play for the story going forward. And I'm really impressed. I am, because I didn't expect this episode to really focus on the character. I didn't think that we were really going to get much development, at the very least for a while, until maybe episode 13, 14, or whatever, but apparently that actually has happened. We now have where Haya's brother is getting development. We're getting to see what he does with people around him. So this episode starts off very typical. Like, we do get a continuation to the events of last week's episode, seeing Haya's brother spying in on whatever his father is doing, and so we all probably assumed in that moment, if you're an anime only, that maybe he heard about his brother, and he's gonna try to do something, maybe go kill his brother, or, try to go out of his way to figure out more about, his brother, more information, and that's what we all assumed. And we found out that he actually didn't really get to hear anything. All he knew is that his father was really worried. His father was desperate, worried, and he never saw his father make the face that he made in that moment, so he wanted to investigate. Now, as we know from the character that's been established, he is someone that loves his mother, he loves his family, he loves his people, which I'll get to that in a second, but, we get to see that this man, he is driven. He wants to know what his parents are hiding from. They've been hiding something from him for a very long time, and he wants to know the truth. And it makes sense, honestly. I mean, if you were a kid growing up and you knew your parents were hiding something from you, you would want to know. You would definitely want to know. After years of growing up and you knew something, you're like, just answer the question. Give me the answer. What is going on here? Why are you hiding this from me? What happened? And all that. And he was seeking his own answers throughout this episode. And he didn't get the full clear-cut picture of what's going on, but he did get closer to the truth. And so when we see the beginning segment happen, we're like, whoa, so we're actually having an episode focusing on this character. And so this really isn't a Dororo episode, actually. This is an episode that focuses on Dororo or Haya, because they don't really even show up at all. They only show up briefly at the beginning of the episode, and then only Haya shows up at the end of the episode to kind of help out his brother. That's really the only times the characters actually pop up, and it really isn't that long. If I had to say the total screen time for the characters, at least Haya and Dororo, was probably about a minute, maybe 2 minutes at max. I don't even think at that. I say 1 minute 30 or whatever, but it wasn't really that long whatsoever, which basically says that this episode really wanted to dive into the other side of the story. If Haya's brother is going to be an antagonist, or is he going to be a helping hand for Haya to eventually find his home, find his mother, find his father, and finally integrate back into society as a normal person? Will that actually happen? Which, let's get right into those details. So Haya's brother. From our first real look at his character, like getting to see how he interacts and all that, since this episode was focused on him, he isn't a bad person. It's clear as day that he isn't. He cares about his people. He legitimately cares about his retainers that follow him. He cares about his people. He's willing to even go out of his way and risk his own life as royalty just to be able to save a town that's kind of like a backwater town in a way. So it proves a lot about his character. He cares about his people. He wants to help his people. So from that first little scene, we can see that he has honest and noble intentions. He isn't a bad guy. And after seeing that, it makes you wonder, could he really kill his brother, Haya, if he found out the truth? Would he try to kill him and all that? And that's a question that pops up in my mind, and I start to wonder about. Because one of the big things that we see from the character is that even though he is a good person and he cares about his people, we can see that there is a little sign that he is very similar in mentality to his father. As we know, the father, the one that started all this, he's someone, the reason why he sacrificed Haya was to save his country, to be someone that would protect his people, save his country, give them prosperity. He wanted to be able to help everyone out. And so that intentions from the father is very similar to Haya's brother. He has intentions to save his people and make them happy. And obviously, thanks to Haya taking down demon after demon, the town and the entire, country is starting to go down in the dirt. Basically what it once was before Haya's brother was even born, or even Haya was born, the country is in turmoil. So the question is, will the brother go to the same length as his father before him would do? For instance, sacrifice your family member, like aka your loved one, your child, or your brother. Will he attempt to do something like this? Because we gotta look at it from this perspective. He had no idea what these demons are or what they're doing. See, the father made a contract, a secret contract, to be able to make sure the country is safe. Now that the demons are being executed, and every time they die, they are getting weaker, and the influence on the country is getting weaker. So it makes you wonder, if the son knew about this, if he knew about that deal and all that, and he realized what Haya was doing and what he did in this episode, would he change his entire perspective around, and would he actually sacrifice the few to save the many? That's what I'm assuming, because we do get to see a little bit of a side to him that is very savage. Like, the messenger. The messenger, the one that delivered the message about Haya to the father, he was technically, in some ways, killed. Like, we didn't really get to see what happened to him, but we can assume he died, because he bit his tongue, he was bleeding, they got some information out of him, and then that was it. That's all we got to see of the messenger. So we can assume that the messenger died. The dude killed him. So, this is a couple things it shows. Number one, he is brutal enough to get things done. Like, if he must, he will shed blood to get things done, which does say a lot about him as a ruler, because some rulers need to show power, exercise strength to be able to do things, be able to accomplish things, especially in the era he is from. He needs to have the strength to be able to stand up and fight for his people. So him doing something like that, it falls in line for wanting to be a ruler. I'm not completely aligned with agreeing with his methods, but it is in a way to where in this day and era for Dororo, that was very vital for the survival of a country, a kingdom. So I'm not going to fault it. But the big point here, though, is if he finds out the truth, will he become the main antagonist of the story? Or because of how his father is, or what he did, and how Haya was sacrificed, and how the mother is, will he decide to be the ruler that the father never was? A better ruler. A ruler that would seek an answer to establishing and making the country a lot better of a place without the use of supernatural forces like demons, ghouls, etc., etc. Will he try to do something like that? Have another answer? Or will he just do the exact same thing and follow in his father's footsteps? That is the main question I have. Which, by the way, I do want to mention the fact that the crab that was taken down, we get to see a side also of Haya's brother that showed his military strength. To be a great leader, to be someone that's going to lead an army, lead a country, you also need to be able to mobilize your people. You need to be able to give morale to where they want to fight for you, for they know that, you will protect them. You got to give them confidence. And him walking into the village and doing what he did, it's like, hey, I'll help you out and all that. And when he finally came up with an answer to, like, make a dam and block in this little section of, like, a lake, it proved a lot about his character. It proved that he is also willing to work with his villagers, command them in a way to where they could get things done to deal with any threat that's coming into his country or that's already inside of his country. That demonstrated a lot of strategy. He is very capable as a person, very smart, to be able to do what he did in this episode. I was very surprised. It wasn't just brute force that was, used to take down this crab demon. It was actually a lot of intelligence thrown in to be able to even initiate the fight to begin with. So, I respect that greatly from this episode. But, speaking of the crab, I do want to mention the fact that the crab did die in this episode, and we didn't get clarified exactly what body part Haya got back. Like, it was never confirmed. Like, we don't know if he got back his eyes, we don't know if he got back, like, anything. Like his limbs or whatever. It was not established. Now, if it was, because I have missed something in the past, I do apologize for it. If I missed it again, if I missed whatever he might have gained back in this episode, correct me in the comments below. But from what I could, see or what I saw of the episode, it didn't seem like he gained anything back, or at the very least, we didn't get to see it. And if I had to assume, if it wasn't clarified in the episode, maybe after the ending song or whatever, then I'm going to assume he probably gained back his eyesight. And the reason why I say that is because if he gained back his eyesight, it would be very nice for the first person he ever lays his eyes on to be his brother. The very family that he never knew he had. Now that would be a very interesting turn of events if he was to gain his eyesight from this demon. Which, by the way, speaking of the demon that was killed, I am kind of curious about something. The demon died, yes. And Haya was there, technically. But what would happen if a demon died and it didn't die thanks to Haya? Would Haya still gain back his limbs, his body parts, or would they permanently be lost? That's a big question I have, because it's not clarified at all, but does the person that slays the demon, do they just gain back the things they have lost? Or does everything that everybody's lost go back to everybody at once? That is a question I have, because what would happen if the brother slayed a demon and Haya wasn't there? Would Haya ever gain back any body parts? Or would he just be out of luck. Sorry, out of luck, and never being able to get him back again. That was something that also was not clarified, and I do want that clarified because I think that's very vital. Because does Haya have to be the one to take out every single demon, or can someone else also take out a demon like all the way on the other side of the country, and Haya gains something back? I wonder if this will be explained. If anyone actually could clarify for me in the comments below, please do so, because this is very important, actually. I do think that this is something that needs to be clarified, but I don't know if the series will ever dive actually into it. But I think that's pretty much about it when it comes to this episode. It's a good episode. It establishes Haya's brother. It establishes his military might, his intelligence, his ability to help his people, and also try to confront his father to figure out what is really going on. It's a great episode. Probably one of my favorite episodes of the series. It may not be as emotional as the Mio stuff or Miu or whatever, but it's still a very good episode. So I'm going to leave it at that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below, because for some reason, even if you click the subscribe button, you don't always get notified. So if you do want to get notified, hit that bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.